Hello. Yeah. I'm audible? Hello. I'm audible. Hello. Okay. So my name is Keval Shah, and today I'm going to teach you every week we are going to have a 1 hour session on web development. That is website development. That we will be seeing how a normal website is getting created, how those websites are being hosted on the internet, and how we use them as well. So when the word comes website or a web development, we always have a one doubt at what is web dev, that is website development. Nowadays the internet is a trending boom in the market, and we nowadays use a lot of internet, like GBs of internet we are using per day. So what we are using over there, we use applications, we use tools, we use accessories, we use the most important of all, websites. We tend to go every day on one common platform, that is google.com or google.co.in or whichever your link is. So we basically go to the Google search engine each and every day because it has made us habitual to go over there. It has made us habitual to understand the concepts. It has made us compulsory to go on the google.com. So we go over there, we search for the stuff, and we enjoy. And we not even enjoy, but we learn, we think, we create over there. But is website development restricted to just creating something on internet? Then we say no, because you can create web applications, like for example your payment gateways and all, where you can create various kinds of web-based applications. So we will also see one application today in this session. Then we have web designing, where we design our websites, where we design our basic consoles, where we design how interactive we can create a portfolio of any individual. Web development can range for developing a small single static page of plain text to complex based web-based internet application, electronic businesses like your e-businesses and social networking service. And the foremost thing, the main reason why we learn website development, because there is a huge demand of creating a e-commerce websites nowadays. People are hiring the interns, the freelancers, the individual company to make their business very much online. So they want that to have a e-commerce site, that is an e-commerce, an internet based or electronic commerce site where they can sell their products, where they can buy those products, where they can engage with their clients as well. So what we are going to learn, basically the web development, where we'll be creating these kinds of websites in this entire course. So now the first question anyone asks is, which language do we use? So majorly people say that these are created using WordPress. Yes, they are also right. That is also used, but the main origination from where these languages are used, that are the three different languages. That is JS, that JavaScript, CSS, that and Bootstrap for GUI, and HTML for the main language coding. So why we use these three different softwares? The reason is that HTML brings the element on the web page. For example, if you want to add any image, any video, or any text, then we use HTML in that case, which help us to bring the elements on our web pages. But if you want to use, like for example, if I give a button using HTML, but I want that button should appear in pink color, I want that button should appear in blue color, right? Then what we do is we use CSS and Bootstrap type languages, which makes it more responsive. We can color those things, we can give the shapes, we can give the basic, the appearance work is given using that. You can make your site much more appearing compared to the normal HTML pages. Third we have is a JavaScript language. Now when we are using JavaScript language, okay, it's little bit different from the Java language, but not that much. Okay, for example, if I have created a button called as quit, for example, if I say quit or start, Okay, and as a user, if I go over there and I click on that button, so it has to perform those features and those functions which we are thinking of. So some or the other way that is not getting achieved over there. Some or the other way that is not something which user wants. Some other way like it is not happening, right? Because the user or the developer has not coded the JavaScript properly inside of it. So the JavaScript language is the most important language when you are when you want to create a responsive and user interactive web pages, right? So let's see what you will be learning from these particular stuff. So the first thing you'll be learning from the scratch is HTML, that is hypertext markup language. That is which is going to help you to create something which is gonna make you know a little bit like get the elements and all the basic fundamentals of HTML. Second thing which you're going to learn is CSS. As I said, that is cascading style sheet. This cascading style sheet will help you to create some basic stuff like for example, if we added any button, if we added any paragraph, if we add any other elements, so CSS makes it much more appearing, much more like changing its font style, changing its details and all, right? The third thing which you're going to learn is related to slightly little bit to the bootstrap. We're going to learn about font awesome, okay, which will be helping us to get the social media icons on your web page so that we can create an interactive footer at the same place. We'll be learning navigation bar using bootstrap as well and normally as well. The next thing which you're going to learn is footer. Now, what is exactly a footer? I'll give you a small example of a footer, like what it will do, and I will explain you complete entirely footer during the practical coding. Okay, so footer is something which helps you or which helps us basically to grasp the thing, basically to conduct, or like for example, if we create a web page for a company or an individual, right? Then we say that when we scroll down to the bottom, we have some slight amount of a small amount of criteria details. For example, like company's address or contact details, career options, right? Their social media availability, and like basically a summary of that particular web page is given at the footer. So footer is the most important element as well as with the navigation bar because it helps us to understand why we are using it. And the last option which you're going to learn is JS, that is JavaScript. JavaScript will be helping us to understand few more concepts like authentications and all. And one more thing which we're going to learn in this, that is Firebase. Okay, right? So in this particular Firebase, okay, we will be learning that how you can create authentication and security parameters, how you can catch the data, or for example, if a person is uploading his data, like for example his images and all, how you can store it into your Firebase, okay, storage server, and how you can collect it as well. So you will be creating an authentication and all these details over there. Okay, so let's see the next part. The first thing which we are going to do is we are going to set up the lab for website development. So for that, what we require basically is a smart text editor. So now there are various available as per the requirements. For example, a person can have Visual Studio Code, Sublime, Atom, right? So I will suggest that the people who are using Mac can use Atom a lot, because Atom is one of the best option for the Mac people. Otherwise, they can go secondly for the Visual Studio Code, that is VSC. But the people who are using Windows, right, they can go for Sublime and Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to use this Sublime in this because it's one of my favorite one and it's very easy to download. So the first thing I will do is I'll go to Sublime text and I will say, like, I have options over here. So I'll say download for Windows and I will click over here. So I'll also share this link in the chat as well. So if you want, you can download it for the Windows as well. So I'll just go over here and drop. So you can receive it over in the chat, and also I will download, I'll show you how to get the Visual Studio Code for Mac users and Windows users who wanted to use Visual Studio Code. So I'll go over here and copy, and you can select your OS in this and you can download the same as per that, right? So it's up to you, whichever you want to use, whichever you want to basically add the stuff. So I think so mostly my stuff has got downloaded. That's a Sublime is getting downloaded. I'll run it. It'll ask for the administration permission. So I gave the permission and add to the Explorer context menu. Then start the installation. Now these text editor which we are using, okay, these are the universal text editors. You can use them with CSS, HTML, JavaScript, Python, any stuff. Okay, so as you must be knowing that at 8 o'clock every Wednesday we come at like 8 p.m. IST time. I come at to teach the Python. At that time, the person who don't have their Python idle, who don't use Python ideally, that is inter development environment, they can also use these kind of smart text editor to code their Python programs. So what I'll do, I'll click on finish and the download is finished. Okay, so let's start. Basically this was the lab setting which we are going to do. So this is what we have done, right? So now let's start with the next part. Okay, that's what's the basic syntax of HTML. That is HTML we have. Now you must be noticing something, that whatever we are writing, it's written inside the angular brackets. You can see like this way, angular brackets, right? So what happens basically when we are using these angular brackets, these are tend to be the syntaxes or the codes, right? So let us see what more we can have in this. Okay, so we have HTML which says that yes, my HTML file is going to start. Then we have is head. This head represents that whatever we are going to write in the title at the top. Okay, for example, when you go to the tab menu, for example, if I go over here, can you see this? This is written which says download Visual Studio Code and there is a logo. So this is what given with the help of head. Rather than not this much, you can also add more stuff in this. For example, if you want, you can add the other links file, like for example, if you're using a separate CSS file, separate bootstrap file, and those are available in different packages on our website, you can call them over and you can use it. Okay, then we have this body, basically nothing else but this particular entire web page which we are seeing. So this is my entire body. So my body is nothing else but the web page which we use, right? And again we say /HTML to close the program. Now you must be noticing one more thing in that whatever the elements are getting started, okay, those are getting closed with the help of a slash, which means that we gave first of all the same tag name. The reason is that so a program understands the same way. What happens when I say HTML, that means my HTML program begin. When I say /HTML, that means my HTML program concludes over here. Then I say /head, I write the title, I write the all this stuff, and then I close /head. That means basically that I have completed my head section. Now I want to write something else. So this is basic syntax of the HTML which we have to follow. Next we have to make some important points. Always make sure that use like the close the link or the tag which you are using in that using a slash. But there is one more thing. Not all the tags closes, especially the media files. For example, if you are adding any image sources and all, right, that is not you're going to close like /image. That's something way other the round. If you are adding some external file links, for example, if you're adding some external files over here, so that is also not going to close in the same case. Okay, so there are something which you have to always make sure that every time it will not close, right? So some factors for HTML. First, we will see what is the advantage of HTML. For example, HTML is the easy to understand and use the language. As you saw in the previous slide, the basic syntax, we understood that this particular part which you can see that angular bracket body, angular bracket /body, this means that we are going to close the body tag, right? And we are going to open the body tag, we are going to write the code over here. If I say head, so that means that it's going to be the head section and all. So it's very easy to understand and use. HTML is supported by all browsers. If you are using any browser, you use Opera, if you use Mozilla, if you use Microsoft Edge, if you use Safari, if you use Google Chrome, it is supported by all the browsers. Even what you can do is whatever you're coding on your laptop, PCs and all, okay, you can take that particular content and you can paste it on your mobile phone. You can share on your mobile or your tablets or iPad or iPhone, and you can open that file over there and it will work over there as well. So the HTML syntax is very much similar to XML language. So XML is another type of a language that acts as a buttery layer between HTML and Java language or JavaScript language. So it is almost similar to that, but not the same. HTML is 100% free of cost because it does not require any kind of a library like Python library or Java library. Itself, it works with the help of your devices. You can easily code those HTML stuff with any of your devices. It's okay. So let us see what's the disadvantages of HTML. HTML can create only static and plain pages. So if we need dynamic pages, then HTML is not that much useful. For example, if you want to create an e-commerce site which should have shopping cart, which should have many other things like my account, my orders, where it requires a lot of coding, then in that case HTML is not that much helpful. Like you require the help of the HTML. It's not like you don't require completely the help of HTML, but you require, okay, but to some extent only. For example, if you go to some other web pages, like for example, if I go to Amazon, okay, so one of the famous e-commerce that we know, so I will say Amazon, right? So for example, if I want to see that how these web pages are built, such a huge web pages are built, no doubt we all know that Amazon is might be a theme based web page and all, where it uses the themes and all. So what I will be doing, I'll just right click over here, and I have an option called as view page source. The Windows users can press Ctrl U to see the page source of any web page, right? But these web pages tend to be copyrighted, so you cannot basically copy the syntaxes, you cannot replicate the syntaxes, but yes, you can refer them to understand them, but you cannot modify, replicate, or do any malfunction practices in that. So if I go over here, you can see that it says view sources https amazon.in. So being Amazon a very heavy page, it requires a time to load. But as I said, like Amazon being one of the biggest web page across the globe, you can see that it also requires HTML language to build its own stuff, right? You can see we have the HTML over here, right? Then we have the head, we have the link tag, meta tag, and all here. In the bottom, we have the JavaScript language or the code which is being written, right? So this is something which we are going to learn, so how these web pages work, what are the uses of this, what are the syntaxes, what are the mistakes we make every time. Let us see more in detail as well. Next is that if we write a long code, okay, then for making a web page, then it produces some complexity. For example, if we are writing a small amount or a big amount of code, as I said, the HTML language is best if you want to use small web pages which are plain, static, like simple, sweet designs. But if you want to go with some complex programming, like if you want to create a very high fundamental web pages, then enough alone HTML cannot build it. So that's one thing, right? So next part which we have is error handling. Okay, so for example, what happens many a time that there is no compiler or interpreter like other programming languages. For example, like how your programming languages like Java, Python, C, C++ has programming languages. They can handle the errors which they face, right? So basically there are no compiler, no interpreter to check whether there is any error or not. There is a simple fundamental concept behind the HTML. If you write the code wrong, I will not show the output. It clearly mentions the same thing what as I said. If you do a small mistake, okay, it will say that whatever you're typing, I will show it, but I will not give errors. And if it's wrong, okay, then I will not give any kind of error. I will not execute the program itself. Like as it has no compiler, no interpreter, so it cannot give you any kind of error result. But yeah, while you're coding with the smart text editors like Sublime, Visual Studio Code, or Atom, it tends to give you the syntax errors which we make. So that makes your work a little bit of easy, right? So let us see and learn practically about HTML to understand how does it work. Okay, so before we go to this segment to do something practically, okay, I want you guys to install the stuff on your devices as well, right? So till that time, if you have any doubt or query, you can post me in the live chat. I will answer them as well. And till that time, you can install these smart text editors. And if you have no space in your devices, Okay, so many people ask that if I don't have space, and how can I code this thing if we don't have smart text editor? So what you can do is you can use the normal text edit feature. Like for example, if you're using a Windows machine, then you can use Notepad. If you're using Mac, you can use text edit. It's an inbuilt note editor which you have, you both the devices have, so use that as well. Okay. Yes, I'm going to give the Python classes as well. It's at every Wednesday or an average at 8 p.m. Okay, which comes, and we have already completed one class, as many of the people are knowing it. So we are going to come along with the Python classes as well. So we're going to work on that as well. The second thing which we have is like second session is going to start. So session one is already done. So what I will be doing in the next class, which is after almost after one and a half hour or something like that, after like 1.5 hours, so I will be posting the link for the first session in the description as well, so you can refer from that as well, like basic installation, basic fundamentals for the Python languages and all. Second is web development in all languages or just basic. No, see, we are going to, as I said you, that we are going to start from basics. Okay, because web development still being very renowned in schools and all, where kids are learning from 6th grade or 5th grade, those are not familiar with the concepts as such, right? So that's what we're going to come out and we are going to see. Okay, so some of the other way what we are going to do is we are going to add, okay, some elements, for example, like Firebase authentication, like a little bit of advanced JavaScript and all. We are going to also try to create some shopping cart websites where user can do shopping and all. Okay, not that much, we're not going to add payment integration and all, right? But we are expecting that very soon the second level of website development will come as well, where we are going to add the different kind of integration features as well, right? So I want to see that. I also want you to see how does it work, how does it appear and all, right? And so that's not all, but still we are going to start from the basics. So I want you to, if you have any doubt or query, please raise me up and please do ask me the questions. Okay. Okay, so I expect that you must have gone through the stuff and you must have saved and downloaded. So as you can see, I have already shared a link which you can see over here. Okay, this link comprises if you want to execute your program live online without downloading the stuff. So there are two links which you can go for. One is a tutorials point link, which I am sharing it. Okay, second is the CodePen link, which I'll be sharing one more time. Just a second. Which is codepen.io. Okay, the one who are using basically on their devices, they can refer the CodePen link, right? And what we are going to do, we are going to first learn the basics of HTML with the help of this CodePen link, and then we will start with the other stuff. Okay, so I mentioned the CodePen link over here, and let's close the unwanted tabs. I'll jump to the CodePen account. Okay, so this is my CodePen account which is being loading, right? So as you can see, we personally being a developer, okay, we are not restricted to just understand the concepts and remembering it. We have to keep learning at any instance or any call. For example, now as you can see, this is a web page or website. Okay, so what happens over here is that we tend to go to start coding option. For example, as you can see, is that just a second, I think so I am stuck. No, I'm not. Okay. So what happens basically that in coding pen web page, we tend to have, for example, if you go over here, if you hover over here, okay, so the border which you can see is hovering, like means it's animating along the surface. Okay, so what happens with this is known as hovering effect. For example, if we hover on that particular thing, then it should hover. That means it's known as the effect of something, right? The second thing which we are going to do is, if for example, if I click on this, okay, it will redirect me to some another page. Okay, so what happens in that, for example, as you can see, as I mentioned, the three different files, those three different files are available over here. Okay, so what we can do is, if you want, you can use this three different files. For example, HTML, CSS and JS, that's a JavaScript. So what we are doing in this, HTML means, as I said, you to get the elements. Okay, CSS for the appearance, and JavaScript languages is for example, to adding the functions to make your web page more interactive. Okay, so let us see. So what I will do, first of all, I will minimize the JavaScript editor, because this is something which you're going to start after a few sessions. For example, like almost after 7th or 8th session. Till that, we're going to focus strictly on HTML and CSS. Okay, so now I will show you basically what you can do more with HTML and CSS languages. Okay, so let us start building with that. So as the basic syntax was suggesting, so what I will do, I'll give HTML. Okay, and in this HTML, I will be adding a head, right? And I'll be adding I'll just close the head. Being a website developer, it is always suggested that to whatever you are opening should always close at the same time. Okay, otherwise when we are creating some heavy web pages or heavy websites, okay, they tend to render a lot. And for example, if we missed out any particular syntax, okay, then you have to just keep scratching your head, you will not get it. Okay, so now in this, I will now say title. Okay, and in this title, I will be mentioning something like intro to HTML. Okay, so now what we are going to do is, I am going to add one dedicated stuff. Like I'm going to add something which is very much dedicated, like for example, some font. Now HTML itself has very good fonts, good amount of fonts, but what I want over here is, I want some external fonts over here. So for that, what I will do, I'll open another tab and I will say fonts.google.com. Okay, these fonts.google.com is something which will always keep you add new fonts in this. You can add any font whichever you want. So in this, I will go and I will search for my favorite font, that is permanent marker. Okay, so this font will be used. I'll be using this font. So what you have to do is, if you select any of your font, any of the browsing font, whichever you require, okay, then what you have to do is, you have to go to the select this style. Whatever the size you require, you have to select your sizes and all. I want a little bit smaller, so I'll take it as 25. Again, I said select this style and go to embed. when I go to embed, I get ready-made import link, that how I can download, I can add this particular step into my HTML. So I'll just go over here and copy this part, and I'll go to my CodePen side and I will paste it inside the head. Okay, just see where am I pasting it. It's inside the head, and my head is already closing at the last line, that is slash head. Okay, right? So now what I will be doing, I will come outside the head section, and this head section I will be saying body. Okay, and this body will also open and close. But as I did again a mistake, as I said, you have not closed my HTML. So I'll first close my slash HTML, and the same thing over here. Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah. So now in this HTML, we will write the first heading text. Now, for example, if we open any book, we always see that we have some kind of title at the top, like chapter name or topic name or something like that, right? So that's the heading of my topic. Similarly, these are the web pages. These also require some heading. So for that, what we are going to do, we are going to start with the basic elements like heading tags, that is H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. Now you must be thinking that H1, H2, H3 and H4 and H5 we have. What does these do? Okay, I'll show you one small example. I'll show you H1, okay, slash H1. Okay, in this, if I say my favorite game, for example, if I say Minecraft, okay, so we are creating this something called as fan page on a particular game, like you're saying Minecraft. Now you can see over here that when I'm writing H1, you can see how thick, how bigger the font is appearing. But in the same case, if I say H4, okay, you can see the changes on the right hand side. It became a little bit small. Thickness remains the same, but it becomes a little bit small. Okay, and if I say over here, for example, H6, these appear like a normal text. Okay, so this is something which is basically will be helping. But you can see the thickness, the work, okay, the font remains the same, and with the font size changes. So I'll say over H1, okay, and I will come out of the bracket. Okay, so now what am I doing over here? I have added this thing which is known as H1. I'm adding the chapter's name or something like that. Okay, now in this I will show you one small magical line that is known as HR. Okay, so it's a horizontal line, so I will just show you HR, right? So I just give an HR. Okay, you must be thinking, what's so much exciting about this? It's just a simple line, and why it is called as magical line. Currently, if you can see, the line's color is almost like grayish black color, right? So what we will be doing, I'll go to the body section. Okay, I'm just showing an example, right? And if I say BG color, that's my background color of my body, that's my web page, and if I make it as black, okay, now can you see line color has changed to white. Okay, for example, the people who are very much fond of using multiple themes like daytime theme and nighttime theme, okay, this is a small trick for them. They can use HR tag to make our web page more amazing. Okay, so I'm using over here black. For example, now if I say red, okay, it will take some time to load. Now you can see again it's a white, but if I say the color as ivory, okay, again it became the black, right? So this is the magical line which I call as a HR tag, right? Now in this, if I want to add any paragraph, okay, so I will call it as P tag, right? So I'll just type over here P tag and I will paste it. So what I will do, I will take some social media help. I'll just go to the Google. Okay, as I said that once in a while, every day we have to go to the google.com, right? So we'll go to the Google and I'll just go to Wikipedia and I will search for Minecraft, right? So I'm just teaching this for the education purpose, right? So I'll just go over here. Somewhere where you will be helping me. Official Minecraft stuff. Okay, so I'll just take this much line, not much more, right? And language. Okay, and I will be pasting it over here. As soon as I paste over here, as you can see, right? So as you can see, the text appears over here, right? So this is the way how it works, right? I've added a paragraph over here. Okay, so this particular paragraph can be edited as well. right? So before I do that thing, what I will be doing, I will be re-customizing the stuff again, right? So I'll just adjust my screen, right? Now in this, I will come out of the p tag again and I will give a HR tag. Okay, now this particular HR tag, again it will give me the next stuff, right? So now once I give you this thing, now if you can see, my web page is very simple looking and all, right? Then what's the need, like why we are learning this HTML and CSS? So now in this case, CSS comes into the picture. Okay, so I'll go to the CSS and the tag which I'm using over here for the Minecraft, that is known as h1. Okay, so I will say h1 curly brackets open and close. So now over here, normally we used to use the angular brackets in HTML, right? But over here we are going to use the curly brackets because in CSS, okay, these curly brackets help you a lot, right? So for example, in HTML we use angular brackets, in CSS we use curly brackets. So why we are using this curly brackets? So we can segregate the designing content for each and every one. Okay, so now in this I will say h1. So now I will go to the permanent marker link which I took. Over here I have an option called as font family. I'll take this line and I will paste it over here. Okay, right, and I will keep like this. As soon as I enter this thing, you can see the text, what has happened to the text. Okay, analytics is showing best. Okay, I think so it's working now well, right? So sorry for the buffering and all. So now if I say text align center, okay, it will align my text to the exact center. Now as I have used the most bigger heading tag, that is h1, okay, so what I will be doing now in this, I want to add my customized size. Okay, for that particular customized size I will do one thing, that is font size as 50 px. Now in this, px means pixels. Okay, px means pixel, that means 50 px equals to 50 pixels, right? So now I'll press enter. Okay, and as you can see now I'll say color red. No, wait, my Minecraft is of color green, so I will add over here green. Okay, and in this now I'll be adding background, so I will say background colon okay, so dash color and colon, it will be like almost like, let me go to the web page, that is HTML hex color picker. Okay, and I use this one the most, that is HTML color codes. I will share the link as well, so you can select your own stuff as well. So I'll just go over here, right, and I paste it. Okay, so successfully I have pasted it. You can click on the same link and you can refer that as well, right? Now what I will be doing, I will close this Minecraft tag and I will say over here, I'll scroll down a little bit. Okay. Scroll down a little bit, okay, and I want something related to the ground color, so I'll just go here and start giving me the skin color, right? So I will just accommodate a little bit, yeah, something like this. So what I will be doing now, I will take this particular text copied, okay, and I'll go to the stuff and I will say paste. Okay, instead of saying double quotes, we will remove the double quotes over here, but like this way. Okay, am I buffering a lot? I think so. Okay, so once I do this thing, right, as you can see my stuff, that is my Minecraft stuff or my Minecraft web page, the title has got changed. Okay, my background is of skin color, right, and my text is of almost green color. Okay, so now as we started the practical designing, we discuss about the hover effect, right? So let's try out to see how does it work. Okay, so what am I going to do is I will be keep changing the hover effect. For example, I'll go over here and I will say h1 hover. Okay, now can you see this h1 colon hover? Okay, because hover is one of kind of the function available in the h1 tag itself. So now in this I will say that color, okay, to become red, right, and background color to become gray, right, and border, I'm just adding a border tag, so I will say 1 pixel. I want the border to be 1 pixel. It should be solid black color. Okay, now what happens with this? For example, if I go to this particular h1 tag, can you see my mouse cursor, right? So now I'll just take my mouse cursor just to touch this thing. Can you see this? Now if I take my mouse cursor out, these are my hands over here. I'll just take my hand to this cursor. I'll just drag it down and I'll leave it. Okay, you can see the changes. You can see the border as well. It's a little bit black. If it's not visible, I'll just make it as 10 pixels solid black. Okay, can you see this now? Right? Yeah. So this is how the hover effect was working in the previous case. Okay, so now I have done this thing. So now the same thing I'm going to try out for the p tag as well. I'll just go here, p tag. In this particular p tag, I'll be saying as font size to be on an average 20 pixels. Okay, because obviously it's a text, it's nothing something like that. And now I will say the font family to be almost like cursive. This might help. Okay, so you can see the content got changed, right? So this is the way how it works. Okay, the content keeps changing and keeps changing. Okay, it started buffering. No little, but it started buffering. Okay, so I think so now it is not buffering a lot, if I'm not wrong. Let me just see the stream quality. Just a second. Oh, it's showing it poor. Okay, serious issues. Okay. Don't worry, even side by side the stream is also getting recorded as well. So if that's the case, I will record the stream for you and I will post it in the stuff as well. Okay, so if it's buffering, okay, I will just look after the matter and I will restart the stuff again for you. Okay, and we'll do the recap as well. If that's the case, even I will also upload the recorded content as well for you as well. Okay, so now I am seeing over here the color. Okay, and I say color to be red. Right, you can see the red color. How does it appear? Right, now the one more thing I'll be doing, I will be adding a small stuff. Okay, as I said, the image, so I'll say img src equals to double quotes. I'll say over here, oh, I just press page up. Right, I'll just remove this and I will be adding some image. So I'll go to unsplash.com. so this particular site will give you something amazing. If I want to, so I'll just go to the technology. Okay, and I'll search for some images. If you have your own images available on the drive, you can use the same thing over here. It's completely okay if you're using something like that. Okay, because this is something which you're practicing out. So I like this one. Okay, so what I will do, download for free. Okay, I'll just copy the link address, right, and I will paste it over here. Okay, so as soon as I paste it over here, you can see the image got loaded, but the image is very big, right? That can be managed with the help of CSS. Okay, so now I will come over here and I will say img, because I'm using the img tag. So in the CSS now I will mention the img and this img tag will be having something related to like height, HIGHT. Okay, and I will be mentioning this tag as 450 pixels, right, and width to be almost 200 pixels. This might work. No, it reduce a lot, so let me keep this as automatic. It will adjust itself. Right now, why am I doing this thing? Okay, so now for example, if I'm scrolling up, you can see I am having a Minecraft which is very simple looking, right? So I will customize it more. Okay, so I will be introducing you to the new concept called as text shadow. Right, this particular text shadow will add shadow effect to my text. I will say 2 pixels. Oh, I made a mistake. 2 pixels, 2 pixels gray. Okay, if the gray is not visible, then I will add black, so you can see the difference. Can you see this? It has added the 3D effect to the text. Okay, the same thing can be achieved with the case of images. So I'll just go over here. First of all, I will say border radius to be 10 pixels. Now what does this will do? If you can see the corner, the edges of the particular image, it has got curved. Okay, for example, if I say 25 px, okay, you can see the more curve effect. Right, now once I do this thing, now I'll be saying box shadow. Okay, so this box shadow will be having okay, my bad, yeah, I'll say 7 pixels by 8 pixels gray. Okay, as soon as I say 7 pixels by 8 pixel gray, you can see these things which is making my image a little bit 3D appear. Okay, and if I wanted to align to the left hand side for a temporary reason, okay, so I will just say margin left to be almost like on an average 33%. Right, so I got my image exact center aligned. Right, so this is the way how I have added the images. This is the way how I added the shadow effect and all. Right, so this is the way how this will work. Okay, and I hope that you understood in this, and if you have any doubt or query, please do ask me. I am ready to re-explain you as well. Okay, so that's the reason we are conducting this live session specially for you guys. Okay, so if you have any doubt or query, you can ask us. Okay, and what else I'm going to do in this? Okay, as I have added the text, okay, I have made it text shadow and all. Right, I've added these stuff over here. So what I will do, I will try to make this particular image hover. Okay, now this hovering will take place in a separate manner. So what I am going to do is, okay, I will be adding few elements, like for example, just a second. Yeah. Right. So what I will be doing, I will be adding over here something like img colon hover. Okay, in this I will be keeping all the things same, only I will take this box shadow. Okay, what I want is height, radius and box shadow, and I will paste it over here. Okay, and instead of this border radius, I will remove this particular border radius. Okay, and instead of making this 450 pixels, I will make it as 500 pixels, and box shadow will turn into the royal blue color. Okay, now what does this mean? If I hover on this, can you see this? See the background. Okay, I'll just scroll down. Can you see this? The background gets changed. Right, so instead of saying this as 3, I'll make it as 350. Okay, and I'll make this as 450 pixels, and I'll also make this as 350 pixels. Okay, so now I'll be adding the hover. Can you see this? The image is getting hovered easily. Right, it is changing its effect, it's changing the everything. Okay, So this is the way how the HTML and CSS collaborates with each other and work. Okay, so hovering effect can be achieved with anything, with images, with the text, or anything. Okay, you can add the shadow effect to any of the stuff as well, right? So you can add the shadow effect, you can add other stuff as well as you want, right? So what we have learned in this particular session, the basic element of HTML. So let us have a small revision. So what we have learned till now. So in this, we have seen what is the web development, or what is the use of the website development, and where is the future lies of this. Okay. Second is what kind of languages are used. So we have gone through the HTML and CSS till now. Okay, it was just an introduction about HTML and CSS. Later on, we'll be start learning with the project-based learning, where I will be creating some amazing projects with you live over here, so you can learn, you can execute the project as well. So this is the basics of HTML and CSS, right? The next thing which we have learned is the scratch. We are learning everything from the scratch, whether it be HTML, CSS, and all. So we have seen what course content we are going to follow exactly, right? The next part which I have is lab setting, where we are going to customize the lab, that how my lab will appear, like not exactly appearance, but what particular element we are going to use for the lab settings. Like I am using a text editor, and that's enough, right? So currently your at least 2 sessions will be conducted on CodePen, right? But later on, what we are going to do, we are going to download the lab, like we're going to use the text editor which we have downloaded and all, right? So let us see how we can use that more in detail as well. The next which we have learned is the basic syntax of HTML, right? So what is head, what is body, what is HTML? So that's the basic syntax what we have gone through till now. Okay, the next part which we are having over here is important points, when to use slash and which code does not uses the slash feature. For example, if I go over here, okay, you can see the p tag uses slash p. Okay, the h1 was using slash h1, but the hr tag and the img tag were not using it. Can you see this? No slashes. Then also they were showing the result. Okay, so some special files do not use it. Okay, then we have seen the advantages and the disadvantages of the content, right? So why we are using HTML, what is the use of the HTML, and why to not use the HTML. Okay, next what we have learned is the practically about the stuff. Okay, so how will these things work, what is going to work over here, how it's going to appear and all, right? So this was all about today's session, what we are going to what we have done exactly over here. So when we'll meet in the next session, that is exact after next week, that's next Wednesday, at the same time at 6 p.m. IST time, in this standard time, and we are going to explore more in this, and we'll start creating our very first web page related, that for example, if I click on these images, this image should open, close. Okay, how these CSS will make my web page more interactive. As this you can see, this is a normal web page which we have built with hover effect and all, but that will not be hover effect, that will be on clickable effect as well. Okay, so let's see how that's working. And also, as you can see, the hover effect and all, which is working quite well, right? So these are the static pages which we are building. The next session which you're going to learn is clickable effect. We'll be learning a little bit of advanced systems, like we'll create our own journey book or something like that, and we'll be working on that as well, right? So this is something which we are going to learn, execute as well, and then we'll start with our own favorite movie recommendation web page. Like we will be taking any one random movie, and we'll create a fan page for it, and we'll be using, like we'll be creating a fan page with navigation bar, we'll be running navigation bar, footer, then we'll start with the font awesome. So this is what something we will do in the further sessions as well. So when I'm going to meet you exact after a week. Okay, so that we will be easily able to collaborate with the same content, continue, and we can create more in this in detail. Okay, so for a timing, what I'm going to do is I will be ending this web development class today right now over here. Okay, so in the next class, that's after 1 week, we'll be working on this as well. So whoever currently are watching, okay, if they have any doubt or query, they can post me in the chat as well, like in the live chat feature. And the one who are watching after the live stream, okay, you can basically share me the stuff after, you know, sometime, that is almost after on the chat as well. Okay, that's in the comment section as well, right? So we will be easily able to help you in the same case. Okay, so if you have any doubt or query, you can post us over there. And if you have no doubt or query, you can also leave for the day as well. So after few minutes, okay, we are gonna have a class, okay, which is related to basically Python development. So we'll be joining you over there, okay, exact after 1.5 hours, not the 1.5, now it's exact after 1 hour. Okay, so see you soon. Bye.